Hey you all, it's Dr. Franklin. I'm back again with another quick video tutorial. This specifically deals with how you calculate a two-sample t-test in SPSS. All right. So this is a pre-existing data set that I got, and we're going to go to variable view as that will tell us we don't need a variable view. Well, hey there, folks. This is Dr. Andrew Franklin, and I am back again with another quick video tutorial to orient you to SPSS for the calculation of a two-sample t-test. In this particular example, we are going to calculate a two-sample t-test using neuroticism as the dependent variable and ethnicity as the independent variable. So ethnicity, we're going to have two different groups. And then with neuroticism, that is going to be our ratio scaled variable for the purposes of exploration today. So, just to give you a quick recap, the independent samples t-test compares the means of two samples. The two samples are normally from randomly assigned groups. There's a few assumptions that should be taken into consideration when calculating the two sample t-test. One, the two groups being compared should be independent of each other. Observations are independent when information about one is unrelated to the other. Normally, this means that one group of subjects provides data for one sample and a different group of subjects provides data for the other sample. And individuals in one group are not matched with individuals in the other group. One way to accomplish this is through random assignment to form two groups. The scores should be normally distributed, but the t-test is robust and can handle violations of the assumptions of a normal distribution. The dependent variable must be measured on an interval or ratio scale. The independent variable should only have two discrete levels. So let's go to variable view really quick. The names of our variables are listed in our name column. And for our particular interest, we will be exploring neuroticism. So that's particular total score we'll be looking at. I'm sure if we scroll up, we will see BFI items that make up the neuroticism scale, and there they are. So you see some of them listed there. If you were to go over to label, you would get more of an adequate description of what those particular items were asking of, what they were asking of participants. We are going to utilize ethnicity as our independent variable, our grouping variable. It's a simple question. What is your ethnicity? If we click on values, we see that people had two options to respond, one Hispanic, two non-Hispanic. Okay, so without further ado, let's hop back over to, well, wait, before we do that, sorry, scholars, let's make sure that our variables are properly assigned the scale of measurement. So it's listed as a scale variable, but it should be a categorical variable because if it can't be a ratio scaled variable because these numbers within themselves don't really mean anything. In other words, with ratio variables, you can add them, multiply them, subtract them, and they will give you meaning. If we add and subtract 1 and 2 here, it will give us no meaning. Reason being, it's a categorical variable. It's just meant to differentiate one group from the other. All right, so now that we've set that up properly, let's double check and make sure that our dependent variable is indeed set to scale. So let's scroll down a bit. BFI Neuro, we come over a bit, yes, it's set to scale. Okay, so we're all set. We toggle back over to data view where we do all of our work and calculations and such, and we click on analyze, and we are comparing means across groups. So we'll select compare means and proportions, go down to independent samples t-test. This is synonymous with a two sample t-test. You click on that and you will bring over to your test variable section, which is your dependent variable. You will bring over neuroticism. Okay. Now, for the purposes of your assignment, you will be bringing over fear of missing out total. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm bringing over neuroticism, and then we have to scroll back up to get our grouping variable, which is ethnicity. Okay. And We have our groups listed there. So we don't have to put anything in. All right, we can go to options and just kind of look at what's there. We don't need to put anything there. 95% confidence interval is perfectly fine. Click continue. We don't necessarily need to estimate that right now. I want to keep things as simple as possible for you all as you're learning this statistic. Click OK. Boom. We have our two sample t-test. Okay. All right, so we come down, we realize that there are 20 individuals in the study who are Hispanic, 552 individuals are non-Hispanic. We would typically like to see these group, excuse me, these group numbers a bit more comparable. We found out that the mean neuroticism scale score for Hispanic is 22, non-Hispanic is 25, so slightly higher for non-Hispanic individuals. When we come down, we see the Levene's test for equality of variances was calculated. And in particular, you're going to want to look at the significant column. It's your hope that this is not significant. You don't want this test to be significant. If it is significant, then you need to jump down here and interpret the stats on the second row, because equal variances, equal average squared distance variables across these two groups are not equal. If you since this is not significant, we can go with the first row, and we have our calculated t here, which is basically the mean difference over the standard error. We have our degree of freedom listed, which is -2, because there's two different groups and there's 572 individuals total. So that means that our numbers in our study can vary by 570 points. And if you keep interpreting going left to right, you will find that we got 0.013 and 0.027. So when calculating two sample t-tests, you have the option of looking at the upper end of a normal distribution or the lower end of a normal distribution to ascertain if one group is significantly higher or significantly lower. Doesn't matter if you go with just putting all of your probability of error in one tail or in two. We have some significance here. So we have below 0.05 for the one-tailed test. We also have below 0.05 for the two-tailed test. So there is a significant difference in neuroticism scores between Hispanic and non-Hispanic individuals. Okay, if we actually look at the raw scores, we see there's about a 3-point difference. All right. Now, sometimes you can have significant difference, but it may not necessarily be a practical difference. That's when effect size comes into play. And as you recall, I didn't necessarily check that this time around, and we're not going to run stats as it relates to that. What does this mean in terms of like your understanding of research methodology and this skill being put in your tool belt? Moving forward, as you think about capstone projects and research, if there's two groups that you want to explore in terms of being significantly different from each other, this is a statistic that you can employ to answer that question. All right. So a brief tutorial. Hope that this has oriented you all to just some of the rudimentary functions of a two-sample t-test. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and take care.